Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As here, I'm gonna start off this video with a bang and let all of you know how powerful these moments in time are right now. It's very possible, as stated at the Digital Euro Conference, that May 24th could be a very significant day as far as regulation is concerned. We've seen the developments with this Ripple XRP case. Could something be coming out of there? I'm not sure. But what I can tell to all of you is a few significant dates and timelines have been given in this video, and I think it's extremely important to pay attention to when everything could begin rolling out for our digital asset, our investment, and the crypto industry. Please take a listen.
Being competitor for the banks, maybe. It depends. In the end, I think we will be a lot smarter after the 24th of May with the regulatory next question probably. And then in like October, when they say we go in a 2 to 3 year realization phase. And then it will become clear how the digital euro will be, how it will be run, on what technology, and what we as banks who are the intermediaries, we have to give you the digital euro. What we should build, like we don't know the technology right now, and in like 2026, the digital euro could be there. And we need like 2 to 3 years to build a new banking system. And I hope we have more clarification at the end of the year.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I want you all to realize is at these conferences, they let us know important pieces of information that could hint into the future of this space. He mentioned that we could get some clarity on the regulatory front, May 24th, which is tomorrow. And while that may or may not hit, it's important to stay on the edge of your seat, stay on your toes, and intake this information so you're prepared. In addition, what I thought interesting was that he went on to talk about the October timeframe, which is a time that I have discussed for when this massive financial crisis should happen. I think that will be a major catalyst on the regulatory front for the crypto industry as well. And then discussing an implementation phase for all of this is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing I can guarantee is that there will be a mass washing out of cryptos. A lot of the useless cryptos. There are 20,000 plus cryptos on the market right now, and 99% of them are useless and don't do anything. What I have to stress is there will probably be about only 200 that survive. Choose your horses wisely, because regulations are coming. And here, just yesterday, we had Joe Biden blaming those damn wealthy crypto traders on the debt ceiling crisis. The Democrats want to paint a negative narrative around the crypto industry so they can regulate us. But then we have this Ripple case in support of us. Isn't that so interesting? I'm really looking forward to see how this plays out. But please listen to your president. Tell every single one of us exactly what he thinks about us.
I'm not going to agree to a deal that protects wealthy tax cheats and crypto traders while putting food assistance at risk for nearly 1 million Americans.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, I find that to be very funny. I find that to be very funny because no, it's not all the decades of money printing. It's not quantitative easing into infinity and beyond. It's not mass government spending. It's the crypto tax cheats. Oh, man. You can't make this shit up. We are going to be painted as the bad guys when shit hits the fan. And what's crazy is that we are around a week and a half away from seeing what's going to happen with this debt ceiling crisis. In my personal opinion, they have to raise it because there are no other options. But here, this is what Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary, states about the debt ceiling crisis. The only option we have is to raise it. Because if we don't right now, there will be a crisis unlike anything we've seen before. They most likely will. But it's interesting to see how she says we always pay our debts, when in reality, all we do is ignore them.
There are a variety of different options, but there are no good options. Every option is a bad option. And I really don't want to get into discussing them and ranking them because, as every Treasury Secretary has known, the only option that really leaves our economy in good shape is, and our financial system, is raising the debt ceiling and making clear that Congress stands behind the basic principle that America pays its bills. We're not a deadbeat country. And, I would simply say, since 1789, the United States has a history of paying its bills on time. That's what the world wants to see, a continued commitment to do that. It's what underlies U.S. Treasury securities as the safest investment on the planet. And it's not an acceptable situation for us.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, isn't that so interesting? They want to go back to the founding of this country to talk about how we pay off our debts. Look at the trillions upon trillions of dollars we are in debt. It is unbelievable to me the situation we're in, but ultimately this is what I'm going to say. Problem, reaction, solution. They're creating the massive problem. There will be pain and panic. That will be the public reaction. And at the end of the day, we believe XRP will be the on-demand liquidity solution to help with plenty of these problems. But here, my friends, is where we get into the meat and potatoes of this video. We know that we're winning the lottery in slow motion by owning XRP. But now, we're getting to a dangerous point, and we're walking on a tightrope when it comes to holding our XRP. Because what we used to think was safe is no longer safe. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been confirmed that Ledger can give the government access to your funds. This is extremely important because about a week ago, Ledger was under fire for a firmware update that apparently sent seed phrases to different third parties, and that raised alarm bells in my eyes already. We already remember how Ledger had their entire database with people's addresses and people's names already compromised, and me viewing Ledger trying to say that third-party distribution of portions of your seed phrase. That's alright, because people, they're not very responsible self-custodying. Now let me make myself clear. I understand why they're doing this. One, this is going to be a way we get mass adoption, and I'll explain why in just a second. But two, we're heading into a point where in order for crypto to be fully legalized and fully compliant, the government is going to track you, and they need the ability to take your money. Ledger wants to position itself as the company that has a government monopoly as far as hardware wallets are concerned. You're going to be able to self-custody and be your own bank in the eyes of the government. Only problem is, if you're fucking up, they could take that from you, and it's a slippery slope that I do not appreciate. They opened up a back door, and here, you don't have to listen to me. Listen to Ledger say it themselves.
99% of the cases, there is no collusion that is really possible between the three entities. And, the way that this is built, but we've released a lot of content. The way that this is built, you can only, only the user can sort of call back the three shards. The only concern really is if we get subpoena by a government to say now, this user specifically, we would like you to, retrieve the three shards, etc. So that's not a real concern in the end, because for several reasons. One, you only get subpoena like this by governments if it's a serious act, like, terrorism, drugs, etc., etc. Like, it's not true that the average person gets subpoenaed every day.
Can I just interrupt there? Coinbase had all their customer data subpoenaed by the IRS.
John Doe.
Yeah, and so they had to supply every customer. Was it over $10,000 or $20,000?
$20,000.
$20,000
over a 3-month rolling period.
and they gave all.
And Coinbase fought back because they wanted
They did.
$3,000.
But Coinbase is a bank. This is not a banking service. Okay, this is very different.
But it's what I'm saying is the IRS wanted that information. If something
There is no
like,
information for the IRS on this.
Well, you do have XPubs, but you had them before too on Ledger Live, right?
I mean, there is no real information for the IRS on this, etc. And by the way, again, this is, there will be trade-offs in the future.
Yeah.
So, we're not saying that, if you're uncomfortable with this, you can keep your 24 words and, keep doing what you're doing today. This doesn't change anything. Okay, doesn't change anything, doesn't create a backdoor. We can come back on open source, not open source, but in the end, we're a good actor. We don't create backdoors in our user's device. And by the way, if we did, the business goes south very quickly.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, right there is where I have to call bullshit. Maybe not right now, but like Jungling says, Ledger's new service is not about revenue. No one is going to opt in for this. It's about updating the firmware so at some point in the future they can mandate government access and recoverability. Oh guys, this is the slippery slope where things get very dangerous for you and me. Imagine a society, a social credit score society with central bank digital currencies, and the only way we thought we could be outside the system was with crypto and our offline wallets. But then Ledger does this and then forces you to upgrade the firmware in order to use your wallet to ensure that governments gain access to this. Then imagine you say the wrong thing online. Then imagine if you eat too much meat and don't eat the bugs. Then imagine if they penalize you for things you say or do. If you've decided to not have too much money in your bank account and save money on your crypto wallet. Imagine a society where they can access that and withdraw it directly from there as a penalty. It's not gonna happen right now or yet, but the door has been opened. And because of this, I have very minimal trust for Ledger. A lot of people have been asking me recently, hey Bull, if you're not going to be using Ledger anymore, what are you going to use? And let me just be very clear on my stance on things. I have plenty of Ledger Nanos. I'm still going to keep the wallets and have some crypto on there. But Ledger had a pretty big portion of my XRP holding and Stellar holdings on it, which I now have to diversify into other wallets to protect myself. And personally speaking, the wallet I'm going to be choosing in order to ensure that I'm protected and diversified will be Decent. I have long recommended the Decent wallet to every single one of my clients, especially because it supports a lot of the coins us in the XRP community know and love. Things like HBAR, XDC, etc. are supported by the Decent wallet, and it is a hardware biometric wallet where you do have to use a fingerprint. I prefer this over what Ledger has done, and while I'll still be using Ledgers, Decent is going to be getting a new bulk of my holdings. A lot of people the other day when I first brought this up were extremely frustrated with me saying I'm just causing FUD. This is something all of you need to know about me. I have never, ever once in my crypto career been paid by a crypto project, NFT project, or have had a sponsor of any kind. I have had over 7 figures offered to me from different crypto projects, NFT projects, and even sponsorship deals from credible companies you guys love, from crypto exchanges you guys use, from other wallets. But the reason I've declined to be sponsored by all of them is because I therefore won't have an objective opinion once I start getting paid. In the history of my YouTube channel, if there's one thing I've always stated and reiterated time and time again, it's to get your crypto hardware wallets. It's to protect yourselves. It's to keep your money off the exchanges. Then what happened? BlockFi failed, Celsius failed, FTX failed, and numerous crypto influencers were getting paid by FTX, Celsius, and BlockFi, and I can name plenty of them. They didn't have an objective approach when promoting those exchanges. And that's because they thought they were trustworthy, but were also blinded by money. See, being a crypto creator is very difficult because inevitably we're all going to make mistakes here and there along the way. That's just the nature of crypto and the name of the game. But if there's one thing I can tell all of you, it's this. Look at people's incentives and why they're doing things. I am not fudding Ledger for the sake of fudding Ledger. All I'm simply doing is telling you guys that I think there may be a future security risk down the road, a future compromising of the company, and to diversify into other wallets just to be safe. An ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure. And never have all your eggs in one basket. The number one thing I don't want to happen to anybody is to wait through this lawsuit, wait 5 years, go through different bear markets just to have your crypto stolen, hijacked, or compromised in any way, shape, or form due to wallet malfunctions. That would be a catastrophe. Now, I hope you heed that warning and respect where I'm coming from. Do what you will, but just know I've given you my objective take. And for the sake of objectivity, I actually have to bring this up as well. I think there's going to be a point down the road where the fact that governments will be able to subpoena and claim people's money at some point will be a big reason why mass adoption will happen. And here, Hotep Jesus gives a great take at the Bitcoin conference that I think all of you need to listen to.
Now, the price of freedom is accountability and responsibility. The current system, you basically offload the responsibility of holding your cash, holding your wealth in somebody else's hands. The difference is with Bitcoin, it's all on you, baby. And I think this presents a tremendous opportunity in the field, and I've been saying this for a while. I believe that some company is going to come along and they're going to offer some sort of insurance package. That's what I want. I don't want to be responsible for my keys. I want to say, here's my keys, you're responsible, and if something happens, then guess what? I'm coming after you, baby. You're going to be responsible for my wealth. That's going to be a key, and I'll pay 5% for that. I don't mind paying 5% to just for the peace of mind, right?
And that's a great point. If we want mass adoption, we need to get out of our crypto community echo chambers and understand that grandma, your 95-year-old grandmother, the older generations are not necessarily going to want to self-custody their keys. It's very technically challenging. It's technically challenging, even for people who are younger. It may be too much work. It's a lot of responsibility. What if you have a home invasion? What if your keys get stolen? A lot of people want the ability to outsource their keys. And when that comes, that will bring mass adoption. Things like PolySign and standard custody are being built right now to help solve this problem on an institutional level. And when we get that on a retail level, I promise you so much money is going to pour into this space. $5.89 for XRP will be just the beginning. Oh, goodness. Now, guys, that's not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But you should still follow that anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors? Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany? Former business director at Swift? Former Swift board member? Former CFO of PayPal? Former head of the DTCC? Former chief business officer at Uber? Former VP of Amazon and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.